I wanted to ask you about data sources that you guys use, that you would like to have, that you don't have, tools that will be helpful in advancing what you do and advancing our industry.
So in terms of what we utilize, again, it all depends on which tactic we're using. So addressable TV utilizes a name and address regime. So in order to create that target audience, you need the name and address to match to the operator's subscriber list in a third-party data safe haven. It's different if we're using, let's say, data-driven linear TV, or in connected TV, we're typically using a combination of IP address and device ID. So each different tactic carries a different data considerations, but the goal, what we really want to get to, is common data across all of our marketing. We don't really want to have to stitch together all these different data sets that use different identifiers. So ideally, we want to be able to use a single target. For example, in addressable TV, it's very challenging to use a digital target, a target that we might use in OLV, which is based on cookies or device IDs, and convert that into an addressable TV target, which has to be in name and address. So we want to get to the point where we can interchangeably use a single target definition or audience definition across multiple tactics. We're not there yet, but that's where we really want to be.
And some other things that are emerging that have been around, a lot of people are talking about ACR, a lot of people are talking about data that comes out of the TV itself. How about some of those news sources?
That can certainly be valuable. That would be very useful, and it can be very useful in talking about incremental reach, because we're talking about reaching households with different tactics. And ideally, you want to know, let's say that you're running a general market TV campaign on broadcast and cable. You want to use, let's say, addressable TV or connected TV. Is the person that you're reaching with that campaign someone that you've already reached with your general market TV campaign? If we could distinguish between what is reach and what is frequency, that would be very powerful. It would allow us to be more integrated in the way that we reach those audiences and reduce the amount of frequency that we have, and be able to aggregate or re-aggregate reach. That's really a key consideration from my standpoint. Reach has become more and more difficult to put together, because it used to be, back in the days in the 1950s or 60s, you could buy a spot in I Love Lucy and you could reach 75% of the US with one spot. That's no longer realistic. You have to buy thousands of spots to try and put together, and I don't think you can even get to the reach that you could get with that one spot in I Love Lucy. So the key would be, can we re-aggregate that reach? Can we be efficient in the way that we're deciding who to expose? The challenge that we have is traditional TV is, again, not a two-way medium. So we don't know exactly which households we reach. Nielsen is a panel. It reaches, pick your number, is it 25,000 households that have a people meter? You can model out whether you're getting reach or frequency based on those 25,000 households. But if you use ACR data, you could know exactly which households on a census basis were already reached by your TV campaign, and then you can decide on top of that what's incremental reach versus what's frequency, and be more efficient in the other tactics that you use. The challenge is that the ACR market is a fragmented one. So there's Inscape is out there and has a certain number of households that they can measure. Samba has households they can measure, and then Samsung is sort of the big kahuna. They have the most sets out there. But there's no way to get a true census of all the households in that ACR data, which would be really powerful, but we do think that data can be useful. It would be really great if we had an integrated census-level ACR data across the whole range of households. But we're not quite there yet.